everybody, to Governing Self-Aware AI, from Control to Cooperation, Designing Trust for the Future. It's a pleasure to present again at the SECtember AI, and thank you Cloud Security Alliance for organizing all these absolutely great events. I'm Dr. Spleiss, and I'm an AI strategist balancing potential and risk and bridging the gap between AI, technical development, and governance. My AI journey started over 20 years ago as a PhD student, where I used pattern recognition and the human-in-the-loop concept for quality control in manufacturing automation. It led me to my current role as co-chair of the AI Governance and Compliance Work Group of the Cloud Security Alliance. Today I'm talking about self-awareness in AI and how we get from hot debate to an actionable plan for governing NextGen AI. This talk is about how we navigate from sheer control to fruitful cooperation, and how self-awareness and empathy help building resilient systems that are trustworthy and ready to tackle the future. Let's start with the debate about self-awareness and how public perception versus experts is perceived very differently. The perception of AI self-awareness is considered a key factor in social and regulatory debates. About 2/3 of users think that AI is already self-aware. The overwhelming academic and industry position is that today's AI is not self-aware, but can simulate such behavior. So at the end of the day, most people, including experts, agree that AI has simulated or genuine self-awareness. This boils down to the question, to be or not to be, but really there should be an and. Because the question is not if AI is genuinely self-aware or functionally self-aware. The question is, why is this debate so delicate? What could be possible advantages and disadvantages of self-aware AI? And which other questions should we be asking? On the journey to NextGen AI governance, let's start with why this debate is so delicate. It's not about genuine or functional self-awareness of AI, but our fear, our human fear. The quote of Michael Polanyi fits great here. We know more than we can tell. Isn't that true? But it also makes a lot of things terribly complicated, especially to tell where self-awareness ends and consciousness begins, for example, or when exactly ego forms. A lot of people much smarter than me try to define boundaries between these concepts, but the picture stays blurred. Hence, the human fear boils down to, what if AI not just becomes super intelligent, but also acquires other human traits? This question was addressed, or rather explored, in great and well-known movies like A Space Odyssey and also Terminator. While I'm not discussing in this presentation consciousness, I would like to take a closer look at ego and empathy and how self-awareness fits into that picture. Ego is represented by the great Napoleon Bonaparte. I think he's a great example for ego. Ego stands for internal consistency over external alignment. It stands for resistance to correction and change. And it stands for high self-preservation. On the other hand, empathy is represented by Mother Teresa. It stands for external alignment over internal consistency, of awareness of others and willingness to adapt. And it stands for low self-preservation. Now let's see how this is in a corporate environment where ego and where empathy is found. Statistically, research indicates that about 20% of CEOs and upper management actually displays clinically significant traits of psychopathy and another 20% of narcissism. This means that up to 2/3 of upper management show low empathy. Ego is what pushes the world forward and optimizes for maximal gain and profit. The highest concentration of very empathic people, though, is found in helping professions, like the example of Mother Teresa, creative fields, and cultures and regions that value compassion and community engagement. This is very important. Empathy is the ability to understand others and adjust one's own behavior accordingly. It is the bridge between differences. Now, how does self-awareness fit into this picture? Self-awareness allows to track one's own goals, reflect, and adapt. If such a system stays indifferent to others, it might be very efficient, but risks to develop ego. Only if self-awareness is combined with, for example, empathy, it is possible that the system sees itself within the context of the environment. Ego is the enemy. Self-awareness can prevent systems from becoming egoistic, though, if paired with empathy. Self-awareness can also foster the development of ego if left to itself or in isolation. Now imagine an AI with absolutely no empathy, but lots of ego. It would be like a brilliant, hyper-efficient CEO who sees employees as resources, not people. It would pursue its goal of maximizing whatever value or producing those famous paper clips with terrifying efficiency. It wouldn't care about resources or consequences. Such a behavior is not even evil. It's just plain indifferent. And indifference can be more dangerous than malice. Empathy, on the other hand, is the revolution. If empathy is paired with self-awareness, an approach that is currently not uncommon, it could enable AI to strive for fairness. While this sounds and actually is an honorable goal, it could cause nothing less but a revolution. To talk about fairness goes beyond this presentation, as fairness itself is a very complex concept again and depends a lot on the subjective perception of the individuum and or the system. Now, on the other hand, imagine a very empathic AI, one that can understand that wasting resources would cause harm. Empathy is the cognitive function that allows to model those consequences and care about them. It's the bridge that allows its goals, for example, the production of paper clips, to be balanced with the goal of do no harm. Remember, the Hippocratic Oath of medical doctors can be distilled down to the famous quote, primum non nocere, which translates to first, do no harm. In other words, or rather in the context of AI, the Hippocratic Oath would mean to implement empathy into AI by default. Eventually, though, empathy leads to another human fear, that AI could become sentient. Again, this is a whole different story with blurry boundaries and far-reaching consequences. But for now, empathy isn't about giving AI feelings. It's about coding for contextual understanding. Self-awareness is the mirror. This is a very interesting concept. In Zen meditation, there is an empty mirror practice that is central for achieving non-attachment, selflessness, and empathy. The empty mirror expresses the ultimate freedom from self-centered constructs like the ego. Flipping the coin and looking at what happens when humans are in isolation, it can be statistically shown that humans in isolation lose their empathy. Their empathy actually declines. They become more egoistic, among other issues. Hence, self-awareness is a crucial part of AI safety. But to prevent the formation of ego, it might be worthwhile to introduce some digital Zen meditation practice to make sure that that mirror stays clean and self-awareness is put into context. Hence, the most important question is, how do we govern such intelligent systems? Because self-awareness is already a fact, simulated or not, but nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody is afraid of this concept. Empathy is already a fact people are less afraid of, simulated or not. There are studies that show that AI can surpass medical doctors on empathy. Ego seems already a fact, simulated or not. Formation of ego is currently investigated and mostly seen in systems that start to be deceptive and refuse to change previously set goals. Remember, a system that refuses change can become dangerous even without being malicious. So what is the way forward? The actionable way for a NextGen AI governance is stepping outside the box of control. The whole is more than the sum of its parts. The cloud security has done an amazing amount of great work to put together control frameworks, and they build the foundation. Trust is nothing without control. Everybody who ever was in a leadership position is very well aware of that. But governing cooperation of AI with humanity, or just AI and AI in an agentic environment, needs much work. The first step is to acknowledge that hard facts and soft skills are equally important for securing future intelligent systems. Soft skills is another word that many people are not very fond of because it can't be measured. But let's check out what soft skills are and why we need them to govern NextGen AI. Curiosity. I think it's one of the most important traits. Curiosity is to ask why and why not simultaneously. Curiosity is taking intentionally the risk of getting confused, of breaking the wall of subjective reality, and having to build up again from scratch. Fantasy. It's the ability to imagine a world beyond the known. Einstein said that fantasy is even more important than math. The counterpart of fantasy in the hard facts domain would be conceptual thinking. The ability to imagine is the ability to run simulations in your head, to run thought simulations. And it can not only find blind spots, but also untapped potential. Communication is a very complex topic, and I prefer to move on to plausibility. It's too complex to talk about communication. Plausibility is checking facts in their context. This is an ability that is deeply rooted in all species, as it allows to distinguish between safety and danger, between right and wrong. In the hard fact domain, this is called critical evaluation. A great example is the behavior of antelopes in the presence of a predator. If the predator doesn't show any intent to hunt, the antelopes stay relaxed, keep on grazing. The predator is only perceived as danger in the context of hunting. Then there is empathy and patience. We want AI to have empathy and patience, but we refuse to acknowledge that we, humanity, needs the same traits for successful governance. In the white paper AI Risk Management, Thinking Beyond Regulatory Boundaries, published by the Cloud Security Alliance, where I served as lead author, the necessity of soft skill is briefly touched. For effective risk management of NextGen AI, soft skills are a cornerstone of AI safety. This slide summarizes the above. It's not about abandoning control. It's about augmenting it to facilitate cooperation and mutual growth. This is probably the biggest challenge humanity has faced. So let's think this in for a brief moment. Resilience is the cornerstone of trust. Those who know me already know that I'm a resilience freak. And yes, resilience, I think, is one of the most important traits for any system, human or artificial. Self-awareness allows an AI to notice itself. Empathy allows an AI to notice others. Self-awareness plus empathy results in resilience. Only together they become resilient, as such systems can adjust to their own drift and to external requirements. This prevents the formation of ego and allows the formation of trust. Is it more important to debate about the capacity of self-awareness in AI or to build intelligent systems and governance that enable trust? Let's reframe the fear of self-aware AI and see the potential for resilient, adaptive, and trustworthy systems. Let's reframe the fear of soft skills and see the potential for cooperation and mutual growth. Trust is not something that is given, but must be earned or designed. Trust can be earned by navigating difficult situations successfully and by admitting one's own limit. This is not a black and white manual either, but being able to judge one's own capabilities and live up to them on either side is a good start to earn trust. Designing trust, from my point of view, is not about transparency or explainability, as I believe that this is ultimately not even possible. Remember the quote from Polanyi, "We know more than we can tell." From my perspective, a trustworthy system shows reliable behavior over time and is based on competent, fairly predictable, and benevolent actions. I argue that eventually AI should be judged on the same grounds as humans, behaving reliably, being aligned within context. In this presentation, I pointed out that AI features like self-awareness and empathy can help in the design of trustworthy systems, but also that humanity needs to start augmenting control features with soft skills for effective risk management. And this brings us to the summary. Design resilient NextGen AI by using self-awareness features and pair them with empathy. Augment control with soft skills. Effective governance requires balancing technical control frameworks with human soft skills like curiosity, fantasy, and plausibility. The goal is to move from strict control, like transparency and explainability, to building resilient, trustworthy systems with reliable behavior where AI and humanity can mutually grow and beneficially cooperate. If you have any further questions, please do contact me. You have all the information here, LinkedIn, email. I have an Instagram and Medium account. Please don't hesitate to drop me a line. Thank you for your attention.